Good afternoon, everybody. This is the Transit Committee meeting, October 18th, 2022, from 5 to 7. It's a virtual meeting. I'd like to welcome everybody here today. And at this time, I would like to take roll call. And Sandy Aldridge.
Right here.
Brandon Oliver. Brandon Oliver. Georgia Burks. Bill Loftus.
Present.
Thank you, Bill.
And Harvey, I'm going to take this by phone because I'm in a bad internet spot. Okay?
Just as long as you're here, Bill, we love you. As long as you can hear us. Thank you for being here. Colin Kenton. Colin Kenton.
I'm here.
Thank you, Colin.
Colin.
All right. Well, we do have a quorum today, and that's a good thing. I'd like to thank y'all for being here today. And staff, do you want to introduce yourselves today? Starting with Jessica.
Sure. Thanks, Harvey. I'm Jessica Morris. I'm the Assistant Director of Transportation. I'm so excited that we've got some new staff who it sounds like people met last month when I was out. So, Amber, go for it.
It's nice to see you all again. Most of you, I believe. I met you at the last meeting. I'm Amber Wagner. I'm the new Transit Planning Manager. I've been here for a little, I think about a month now, and background is in public transportation. Just recently came from Tucson, Arizona. The Regional Transportation Authority there is their Transportation Mobility Administrator. North Carolina is near and dear to my heart. I'm coming back. I was involved in the North Carolina Transit Association and in the Chatham Area Transit System. So I look forward to working with you all.
Thank you, Amber.
I'm Haley Burton. I'm a transportation planner with the city of Asheville. And it looks like Brandon just joined Harvey.
That's great. I'm glad you're here, Brandon.
Thank you,
Brandon
sir.
Oliver.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll
work.
continue with the staff after Haley.
LaShawn Abraham, I'm here. Asheville Transit RATP Dev, Director of Operations.
Thank you, LaShawn, for being here. Is Barry on today?
I'm sorry, Barry is not going to make it today.
Okay, that's good. That's good. All right. We'll go ahead and get into our agenda for today. The agenda will be proposed to everybody as it's listed. We will go down item by item. Roll call. We do have a quorum today, and that's a good thing. Brandon, I'm so glad you joined in. So, October 18th, 2022 agenda. Review and approval. Can I get someone to approve the, oh my goodness, I got myself so mixed up today. Can I get someone to I'm so nervous today. Excuse me.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I need somebody to approve the minutes for October 18th.
Yeah.
And can I get a second? Can I get a second?
I'll second. This is
Okay.
Colin.
All right. Those are approved. Okay, May 31st, 2022. Minutes for review and approval. Can I get someone to do that one? And we'll get a second on that. To review and approval.
I'll do that.
May I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, those minutes have been reviewed and approved. August the 16th, 2022 minutes for review and approval. Can I get someone on that first one? For review and approval? And a second?
What are the dates, sir?
August the 16th, 2022.
I make a motion to approve the August 16th minutes.
Thank you for that motion.
Yes, sir.
May I have a second, please?
I'll give a second.
Okay. Thank you. Excuse my difficulty. We have an explanation of public comment standards and opportunities. The Transit Committee is a volunteer citizen board designed to offer input and guidance to the Asheville transit system and city council. We do not set or change routes, control Asheville's transit budget, or have authority over staff, drivers, or management company. We as a group, we are a group of citizens like you who are here to ensure community concerns are taken into consideration when setting public transit policy. And we have public comment. I didn't get the email that Amber sent, but there was one public comment, and it was concerning paratransit, and they wanted to know why we charged paratransit. I think that was it. If it's different, Amber can tell me different.
The public comment was regarding mountain mobility and why we charged bus fare on the bus as well as for paratransit in mountain mobility.
Okay.
And
Okay. All right. Thank you, Amber. A new business for today: city staffing update and introductions.
well, first of all, I would like to say that I'm happy to be here and excited to be at the first meeting. We all had the tour, and hopefully you all enjoyed that. I believe we did miss Amy and Nicole for our staff introductions. And if they could just quick say hi. Nicole is new. I believe most of you met her on our tour, and Amy is transitioning to our grants analyst position.
Yeah, I'm glad we're fully staffed now.
It's nice.
It's nice.
Yes, my name is Amy Tessner, and this is Nicole Hart. Sorry, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties right now, so we're working with IT on the back end.
Okay, thank you very much. I just wanted to make sure that you all were recognized because we appreciate all the work you all do. Thank you very much. Any additional updates that there is a staff memo that I did include for September. which included just a status update on our budget process, our vehicle purchases, as well as the work on our phase 2 of our fare study recommendations. If there's any questions about that, we can discuss that further on down in the agenda. I don't believe I have any more updates. Jessica, do you have any?
Well, we might want to update them about Haley's new role. Haley, do you want to go ahead and tell the group?
Yeah, I think most everyone knows this already, but I'm transitioning to a different division within the transportation department. So I will be working on more bicycle and pedestrian planning, but hopefully still stay connected to transit, some transit projects as well. So I'm still with the city. I'm still here working on transit right now until we can fill in my current position. And we've done interviews for that, and we're moving forward in that process. And I'll be here to help train the next person as well. So.
Thank you, Haley. I keep thinking if I don't say it, it won't happen, but we do appreciate it. If I say it, then it's real. So we'd like to keep you, but do understand and are very excited for you in your new position. And we thank you for all that you've done. And you're still contributing on a multitude of projects that we're still working on throughout the transition. So thank you very much.
Thanks.
And I'd like to thank everyone for being on board and being fully staffed. It's just great. And Haley, I will miss all the conversations we used to have, but I'm still going to call you.
I'm going to have to change my number, Harvey.
Oh, no. That was cold.
No, call me anytime.
Oh, she switched up on me. Thank you, Haley. I appreciate everything that you've done. I told Amy that earlier today on a phone call because I appreciate all that y'all have done and helping me get the meetings together and all the information as well. I appreciate it very much. Thank you, Haley.
Thanks, Harvey.
And welcome, Amber, as well.
Thank you.
We have a new transit application. I'm trusting everyone has read the agenda and went down Philip, how should I say this, Lucero. And he is, from what I read, he was a good candidate for being a transit member. He is on at least, I think, 8 or 9 routes that he rides. And I think he'd be a good candidate for the transit committee. And the next thing is, does any transit committee member like to say anything about Mr. Lucero? And Amber and I were discussing this earlier today, Jessica. Last time we had members that we had joined, the only thing we did was send the application to multimodal, and then they approved it.
Right. Yes. It would be good if the transit committee could make a motion to have Philip appointed to the transit committee, or I guess to recommend to the multimodal commission that Philip be appointed to the transit committee. So we can officially pass that motion on to the multimodal commission for their meeting next week.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to appoint Mr. Lucero to the transit committee. May I have a motion?
I'll
second,
second it.
please. Okay, thank you. And we'll go ahead and send that on to the multimodal commission.
Well, you got to
And
take
while
a
we're
vote, Harvey.
at the multimodal, oh, that's right. I forgot about that. My bad. I was too interested in trying to say about myself. We'll have a vote. Harvey is yes. Sandy?
You're
You're
muted.
muted, Sandy.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you. She's talking away.
Yeah, I say yes.
Thank you. Brandon?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And Kent?
Yes.
Thank you. And the motion's passed. And we'll send that on to multimodal.
Hey, Harvey, this is Bill. Quick question. Does that
Yes,
fill
sir.
up the committee, or do we still have open slots?
No, we can have a total of 11 people, I think. And we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right now. He'll make 7.
Okay. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. And while we're on the subject of the multimodal, we lost Mr. Basone. And do we have to appoint somebody to that position?
No, it will be the opposite, in fact. So John Bassoni was on the multimodal commission, and he was appointed by the multimodal to serve on transit. So his resignation was for both. So when the multimodal appoints a new person, there will have to be a decision made as to who to appoint to the transit committee.
Okay.
So right now, Bill Loftus, who's present tonight, he's the transit committee's lone multimodal commission member, and so we'll have to find a second person.
Okay. In reading the bylaws as far as how the members that are supposed to be on the multimodal commission, the bylaws stated I was appointed to the Greenway committee. You remember the GAP committee that we started, Jessica? You were at that meeting as well. And that is the Greenway. I guess the Greenway and the GAP committee, are they different?
Yeah, the GAP committee was for a project. The update of our pedestrian and greenway plans. So it's not the official Greenway committee. It was a committee that was formed just for that particular project, and that project is complete.
Okay, because I know we did a bunch of surveys and did some personal things, but okay. All right, I have clarity on that now. Because I volunteer for so much.
Harvey, would you mind if I asked a question?
The chair recognizes Sandy.
Thank you. So you and I both communicated with Ms. Burtz last week, and she hasn't been at any meetings that I've been to. And she acts like she is interested, but she's really not. And I would like to make a motion to take her off the committee. I don't know the way you do that, but it's just a thought, because she's not going to be going to the meetings.
I'll let Jessica handle that. We've never handled one of those before, but I believe staff initiates that process, because they have to go through all of the meetings that we've had, and then they'll come up with their numbers. and then they'll consider that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the rule is that you're supposed to be present for 3/4. I think it's 3/4 of the meetings, and without looking at the attendance super closely, I feel that Ms. Burtz has probably missed that many or more. But we can put the numbers together, and we could at our next meeting have you guys look at it. We would need a motion from the transit committee to recommend that she be removed, and then it would have to be approved by the multimodal commission. So just like appointments have to be approved by them, they would approve a removal as well. So we can get that data together and bring that to the next meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Jessica. Sandy, is there anything else?
That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Staff will have to handle the next one. Remote meeting policy for advisory boards. This will be concerning whether we'll meet in person or virtually. But I believe we're for the next couple of months, or I think it's the next year, we have to meet virtually. And can I ask Jessica about that?
Sure. So all of the boards and commissions and committees are being asked to make a decision this month as to whether they would like to remain having their meetings virtually like we are now, or go back to in-person meetings. And the boards and commissions, they've asked for that decision to be committed to for a year. So if we decide tonight, or if you guys decide tonight that you would like to remain virtual, they want us to stick to that for the next year's worth of meetings. And that's just to keep some consistency. So ultimately, it's up to you guys whether you'd like to transition back to in-person or not. I think staff's recommendation would be to remain virtual, primarily I think there's some good reasons. We can continue to stream online. It's more flexible, I think, for some folks. Amber, our new transit manager, she's going to be remote for a while still until she's able to move here and find a place to live. So that's our recommendation, but it's up to you guys what you would like to do.
Okay, we can go ahead and take a vote this evening as far as moving forward on that.
Could I ask a question before we vote? And maybe you said this, but I didn't hear it. Can we be both remote and in person? Is that possible?
No.
Unfortunately, no. And I wish that I could explain why that is. I don't really understand why that is, but I think it has to do with public comments and calling in and streaming and all the different technology stuff that happens behind the scenes that I don't completely understand. So if we were to go back to in-person, we wouldn't be able to have members join virtually or stream our meetings on YouTube, is my understanding. I know that the city is working on trying to make that happen, but it's not in place, and so it's kind of a one or the other decision at this point, unfortunately.
It's just so weird. I mean, it's almost like in normal business, even if we didn't go through a virtual period like 3 years ago, you normally would conduct business in person, but if somebody was sick or they couldn't make it for some reason, they had to babysit, I don't know, you name it, you could always call in. But what we're saying is we can't just call into a meeting. Am I understanding that right?
That is my understanding.
Okay. I thought I'd
I
try.
know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the purpose of voting if it's already set that we're gonna be virtual?
Well, it's not that they would like you guys to officially make a decision. Do you want to go back to in-person, or do you want to stay virtual and remote for the next year? And the multimodal is going to make the same decision next week, and every other board and committee and commission is as well.
Okay, we'll have.
Do we need to make a motion?
Yes.
We'll make a motion to whether virtual or in person.
Motion needs to be either one or the other. It can't be
in person or virtual.
I move that we remain virtual.
I vote
I was
that
going
we.
to go down the line and ask everyone whether they want to be in person or virtual.
So we're not going to vote on a motion?
I think Jessica wanted to be did you want it to be a motion, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So the motion right now is that the committee decide to remain virtual. So you'd need a second, and then you would vote on that motion.
Or need I have to make a motion for virtual. And I have a second.
I'll second.
Okay. Harvey votes virtual. Sandy?
Definitely virtual.
Virtual. Brandon?
Yes to the motion of virtual.
Bill?
Virtual.
Colin?
Colin is voting no.
It's either virtual or in person.
The motion is for virtual, and I'm voting no.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So noted. So the motion to move forward on virtual is passed by the Transit Committee. Thank you. Okay, the upcoming meeting dates. November the 15th and December the 20th. December 20th is close to Christmas, and the November 15th meeting, is it close to any holiday or anything? Because I know Thanksgiving is down the line. I have to turn on my light so I can see.
We proposed these dates. Staff just wanted to put these dates out there. So for planning purposes, we've heard in previous meetings the need for consistency. We just want to set some of the meetings and just talk about the holidays in particular, and if there's any issues with scheduling.
So if there was some conflict with anybody,
Do we want to hold a meeting in December? I believe if there's no conflicts in the November, then we can move to discuss about the December as well.
okay. Does anyone have any conflicts with either one of these dates?
I would say the December one. because I think it's too close to Christmas. I really do.
Okay, the December 20th date. November 15th is a good date, still a good date for all council members, committee members.
I think I'm out that time, but don't wait on me. This is Bill. Yeah, I'm not here that day, and I can't phone in. But having said, I'm going
Well,
to
we
be
just
gone.
go ahead and make a
for-
motion for the 15th. We have a motion for the 15th, and we'll vote on it.
So moved.
Okay. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Okay. Harvey, I vote yay. Sandy,
Yay.
Brandon,
Yay.
Bill,
Yeah.
and Colin.
Yes.
So moved to have the meeting on the 15th. December 20th, I have a motion. I'll make a motion for the December 20th meeting. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. Okay. I'll vote yes. Sandy,
No.
Brandon,
Yes. Yay.
okay, Brandon says yes. Bill,
Yes.
yes. Colin,
Yes.
and I vote yes for 20th. So move, we'll have a meeting on the 20th. Moving forward, W5 route recommendations.
All right, I'm gonna share my screen to talk about this. Can you all see that?
Yes.
No, but I assume, okay. Thanks, Colin. So basically, the W5 is one of our routes that the art drivers approached us about looking into further for some considerations of making some changes. It's also one that we have had our eye on because it has poor on-time performance on weekdays. So this presentation is just meant to give you an idea of like the issues and then the options and the points for consideration for what we decide. So this is a map of the W5 route, and it serves, if you can see, it goes up a ramp off of Patton Ave to Hill Street. There's a stop there. It comes down and it serves Westgate Shopping Center, continues on to, it's not, you can't see it on the map, but it's Patton at Resort Drive, and then it continues on. And the three stops that we're going to be talking about potentially removing today are the Hill Street stop, the Westgate Shopping Center, and the Patton at Resort Ave or Resort Drive. And just to note, these stops are also served by the WE1 route and the WE2 routes. So like I said, drivers dislike making the Hill Street stop. We'll get into this further, but there's basically zero ridership. Not basically, there is zero ridership at the Hill Street stop, and that's on all routes. And so they're not supposed to, but they will sometimes skip it, trying to make up time if the route is running late, which is not good. We want them to run the route that is scheduled. And then we'll get into this further as well, but the W5 has poor on-time performance on weekdays. Basically, it's running late 30% of the time, but it's performing okay on weekends when there's less traffic on Patton Ave. So I'm gonna go over a bit further stop ridership, stop frequency, and on-time performance, and some points on safety. So this is just an overview of the stop ridership at each of those stops. As you can see, the Hill Street stop is basically zero, and this is just looking from June to September of this year as a sample. There was some ridership at the Hill Street stop on the WE1 this month, in September. The I-240 at Westgate Shopping Center stop is definitely the highest performing stop along within these three stops. The W5 has about around 4 to 5 daily average riders. The WE1 is similar to that, except for in the month of August, but that zero might be because of a data issue. And the WE2 has the most ridership at that stop. Patton Ave at Resort Drive, almost no ridership except for in the month of September on the WE1. So in terms of stop frequency, right now for all three of these stops, basically every 20 minutes there's a bus coming, whether that's the W5, the WE1, or the WE2. And if you get on the W5, you will have a shorter, about 30-minute ride back to the station, whereas the WE1 and the WE2 will take slightly longer, 40 minutes up to an hour. In these times, this 9 p.m. for the W5, the WE1, the almost 8 p.m. for the WE1, and the 10:30 for the WE2. Those are the last times of the day that those stops are served in the evening. So on-time performance, again, this is June through September. The most important things to pay attention to are the last two cells with the weekday averages and the weekend averages. Basically, the W5 performs well on the weekends, but poorly on the weekends, with on-time performance around 66%, meaning 66% of the time this bus is running, it's on time. And 30% of the time it's late, and 4% of the time it's running early. On the weekends, it does much better, around 78% on time, and split pretty evenly between being early and late.
Haley,
Yeah,
quick question.
sure.
You've answered this in a previous meeting, I forgot. What constitutes on time? Is it 1 minute late, 5 minutes late? What's your definition?
Yeah, thanks. You can be 30 seconds early to a stop. And this isn't at every single stop. Every route has a few time points that we use as the indicator, the baseline for how we're making these calls. But at those stops, it's 30 seconds early, and then after 5 minutes, it's considered late.
Thank you.
The chair would like to remind the committee to raise your hand before speaking, please.
All right.
Brendan is in the queue.
Oh, sure. Go ahead, Brandon. Brandon.
Thank you. Hey, my question is, and hello. What are the bus drivers say? What's their main concern about the Hill Street stop?
I think they don't, LaShawn, you can add to this, but I think they basically don't like going this roundabout route that they feel is making them run late when it's not serving any riders.
Right. The traffic on Patton Avenue is, they feel like because of the traffic on Patton Avenue, with them having to make that loop is making them even later on top of.
It's a bad place to come on for a bus. Thank you both.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Clinton Colin is in the queue.
Go ahead.
Yes. Continue on with the discussion on the Hill Street stop. So Hill Street is an apartment complex, right? A large apartment complex?
Yes.
And looking at all three of those routes, nobody rides transit from Hill Street, is what we're saying.
Yeah, that's basically
Very
correct.
few.
Right.
I mean, it just seems kind of counterintuitive because you would think that would be a place where you would attract more ridership, but it's not. Is it because the bus is going away from downtown and maybe, obviously it's on that side of the highway, but if the bus were going into town and it was only, a 10-minute ride as opposed to a 40-minute ride, that maybe that's why nobody's riding it, because they don't want to, go all the way through West Asheville when they could almost walk as fast.
Well, the N3 serves Hillcrest directly, so that could be.
And this stop
Oh, okay. So there's another route that serves them more directly and probably gets more ridership then.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you have anything to add, LaShawn?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And this stop is down the hill from the apartments. But N3 service inside the apartments.
Oh, so it doesn't even go up to the apartments?
No.
I think it's within
then
about a quarter mile, though.
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yes.
And then, so my follow-up on that is...
Go ahead, Colin.
Right, so they're saying that they don't want to go up and do that Hill Street loop because it's adding time and potentially taking away from their ability to stay on time to get down Patton Avenue and serve the other stops. So, but I would assume that route that loop isn't for free. So if you cut that loop out of their route, wouldn't you cut the estimated time it takes them to drive that route out of their time? So if it takes them an extra minute to go Hill Street, shouldn't all their times be adjusted by a minute?
So taking off Hill Street saves about 2 minutes. Taking off Hill Street, Westgate, and that Patton Ave stop would take off at least 2 minutes.
Right. So all the other times would need to be adjusted 2 minutes less.
Yeah. Well, we could adjust the schedule. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, in reality, they're still going to be stuck in traffic on Patton, whether they go Hill or not. I mean, that's the only point I'm making.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's serving a purpose. I agree. So, but.
Yeah, so taking off these stops would give them, it doesn't sound like much, but on a route this short, it can, I guess, make a difference. It would just add around like 2 to 3 minutes. But yeah, it's still not
The delays are still
anything
going to be there.
substantial. Yeah, there'll still definitely be some late. So yeah, we've already basically gotten into it, but there's only two good options. Neither are perfect. One is just leave things how they are. We could potentially look at making some slight adjustments in the schedule itself, but there's not really much room to move. And the software that we use to predict times and make the timetables, it's already giving us the most optimal time based on their software. So then the other option, oh sorry, I did that backwards. The other option is to remove all three stops from the W5. So you're gonna it's less access and less frequency, but there's also not that high of ridership outside of the Westgate Shopping Center. And we talked about only removing the Hill Street stop, but if we did that and still tried to have the drivers get over on Patton to serve Westgate and that other stop, they're going to be crossing basically 3 lanes of traffic on a very busy street, and we just don't feel comfortable asking drivers to do that when it's not safe or practical. So that's why we're not considering that. And the reason besides additional access to people living in that area, one of the main reasons we added Hill Street to the W5 to begin with is so that drivers would go up the ramp and it would make it easier for them to be already in this lane as they're coming out of there. So.
Okay. Colin, I'll get to you in a minute. My hand was been raised for a while. Haley, I've talked to a bunch of drivers about this route. Yesterday I wrote it, just get a fresh outlook on it. But going down through Hill Street, there's, the WE1, WE2 can handle that. So the W5, it could go straight down Patton, but it's staying in that right lane. I understand the dangers of they always have accident in that middle lane going down Patton. That's in the afternoons. That's like after 3. But during the other times, it would be more expedient for the W5 to keep going straight down Patton instead of going down the Hill Street and doing that little crook in there. And the other thing is, the only time they get some pickups down in that way is whenever there's a concert or something down that way. And by having the W5 go straight down Patton, staying in the right lane, that, it's only, there's no, I don't see the hazard in that. I know traffic is thicker in the afternoons, and during the morning time, the route runs fine. But in the afternoons is, like when it really loses time going down in that little hole and coming out of it. And traffic is really thick. But if it remains on Patton going straight down, it wouldn't, I didn't see the danger in that. But maybe if we got in a bus and drove straight down through there, maybe I would see it around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Just to make sure we understand each other, we're not saying we think it is safe if they go down Patton, but they don't try and get over to serve the Westgate Shopping Center. It's only if they were to take off Hill Street and then try and get over to get to Westgate that we think it would be unsafe, because they would have to get over 3 lanes. Are we saying the same thing?
Yeah. And like I said, it needs to bypass the Westgate and needs to go up the Hazel Mill Road towards Louisiana. That way it could be running more on time.
That is not something we have looked into you're saying?
Yeah.
That'd be,
Like I say, but just go straight down Patton, and bypass the west gate and go up Hazel Mill Road towards Louisiana.
Yeah, we'd be missing even more stops if we did that. Can't, including a time point. Yeah, I can't speak to that because I haven't looked at the ridership at those stops.
Like I said, a number of drivers, they gave me that information, and seems feasible. But like I said, you'd have to look into it further. I know the final decision comes from you. But like I said, those drivers, they've been out there for 20 years and some close to 20 years. But they gave me, this information, and I went ahead and went over the route a couple of times myself as well. So I'd appreciate if you looked into it.
Looked into this Hazel Mill Road. I guess first question, LaShawn, do you know if the buses can even fit on this road, the Hazel Mill Road?
Yeah, we used to take that a long time ago, Hazel Mill.
Okay. Jessica and Amber, I don't know if there's anything you want to comment on that proposal at this time, or if we should just look into that some more and then come back in November.
I think what, we were just tasked with looking at the Hill Street stop and then looked at the other ones because for safety reasons, because it was brought forth by operations in terms of safety. The other ones we could take and review and look at it. I don't know what do we just usually review these as given, or is there a particular time that we make revisions? I mean, I would say probably we need to make, okay, they did add, I'm sorry, I'm reading the responses. Brandon just asked about speed blankets, I believe. I would say we need to look at what was addressed here, but if we want to look at something else, then staff would have to go back and take a look at that. So I don't know if you'd want to put action towards that. Because we just looked at the Hill Street access and the stop with the other two.
What was your question, Brandon, or comment?
He had something about speed bumps.
LaShawn, do you want to
address
speed bumps
on Hazel Mill?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did add those on Hazel Mill.
Mm-hmm.
I think a bus would still make it, but we need to
Might slow it down a little.
you just need to take a look at it.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I mean,
Colin, go ahead, Hayden.
No, go ahead, Colin.
Colin, he's in the queue.
I think Colin has his hand up.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Colin.
So, right, Colin. So I understand, the buses having to weave over 3 lanes, and that makes perfect sense, and that would be a concern.
Mm-hmm.
But they've got to eventually get to the right lane to be able to turn up Louisiana. So they still have to weave some, correct?
Correct. They just would have a lot longer to do it.
Yeah, 1 lane.
So going back and back to the Hill Street issue, is there, how do I put this? Is there a potential that they could use Hill Street not to pick people up at that stop, but get rid of the stop, but still have them make that loop to put them in the right side of the road so they don't have to worry about weave early or late, and just eliminate the weave altogether?
Yeah, well, if they don't see someone like at that stop, they're usually not stopping.
Well, yeah, that's true. So they're not stopping anyway. So
right, so it's basically the same as what they're doing now.
Jessica's in the queue. The chair recognizes Jessica.
Thanks, Harvey. I just wanted to say that I think we could certainly look at the possibility of changing the route. I don't want to invest a lot of time into it right now with our staff constraints and trying to get up to speed with everything that's going on. I think going up Hazel Mill would be a pretty, I mean, it's not physically, it's not a big change, but I think from a frequency standpoint, you know, one of the things we're trying to do is create added frequency on Patton. So if we're diverting that route, then you lose some of that that frequency on Patton. So it's a more substantial change than I think it might seem on the surface. So we can look at it, but it might be a few months before we are able to invest substantial time into looking at that and seeing how it would work with the rest of the schedule.
Okay. Does anyone want to elaborate any more on the W5 route recommendations?
I think it makes sense.
I do too.
To make sense to remove the 3 stops.
Yeah, yes, do that. Bypass Westgate and then go up Hazel Mill Road towards Louisiana. Yes.
That's not what we're proposing this evening. What we're proposing is to make a decision about whether or not to remove the Hill Street stop, as well as the Westgate stop and the Resort Drive stop from the W5. And I think that's our recommendation based on safety reasons and to try to ensure that the route is on time, performance is improved.
So
good.
Sorry. Harvey, I'm not online, so I can't raise my hand. Can I speak?
Go ahead.
So the frequency for people to get to Westgate, which seems like the more popular of all those places, right? The public loses 20-minute frequency, and well, let me say it differently. It goes from 3 per hour to 2 per hour. Is that the impact on Westgate?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. And I guess the other question is, whenever we make changes like this, is there some type of a public announcement that just makes people aware, or do we just do it and drop it cold on people?
No, we definitely do. Like something, I guess, as big as this, we wouldn't even make any changes until about a month of letting people know that it's coming.
We just put up placards or something like that to let people know.
We put, on the signs, and we'll shoot out some different messages through email and through our website and at the transit center.
Okay, thank you.
There's public notice, and then there's opportunity for input, but usually public notice.
Right.
I think ultimately this was brought to staff's attention with the Hill Stop is to look at and kind of straighten out routes, which then helps with frequency and trying to assist with on-time performance. So the recommendation is either to, keep it the way it is or eliminate all 3 stops for safety reasons.
I don't think we need necessarily a motion, but I don't know if we want to do a vote or anything like that, or we can just take the comments that we've heard and potentially come back again.
Jessica?
Yes, thank you, Harvey. I was just going to say that perhaps what we could do is do some of the rider outreach over the next month to 6 weeks or so and see if we get any comments submitted to us from the public and say that we're proposing to remove these stops from this particular route and see if we hear anything from any riders. And then we can come back at a meeting, the December meeting perhaps, and report out anything we've heard, if we've heard anything, and then make a decision at that time. And it'll give you guys some time to think about it as well.
Okay.
Just a suggestion.
Sounds good to me. And if anyone has any comments or questions in the meantime, just email me.
Okay.
That's all we
you.
have on that.
All right, that was a good discussion. The BBT says JE presentation. I believe Carmen has this. Hi, Carmen.
Hello, y'all. Before my presentation, I just wanted to put something out that you all probably aren't considering because you probably don't know. Sunrise Recovery and Wellness used to be in our building, and they mostly service all transit dependent riders. They will be opening at Westgate within a month, like they're building it out right now. All of those people who go, and it's a lot of people, use transit as their primary source, their exclusive source of transportation. So whatever the ridership is now, I think it would increase like fivefold. I can't imagine it wouldn't. And that's, across all times except for, in the evening when Sunrise is closed. So I'm sorry to veer off into something that, an advocate shouldn't.
When did you say they're opening?
Well, they closed here at the end of September, and so they're building out their space, and so they told me that they would be opening up, I guess, at the end of this month, but you know how things go, so I would say sometime next month. And if you all wanted, I could talk to you all directly and find out from Sunrise.
Yeah, or we can reach out to them as well. I don't want to put extra work on you, but thank you for bringing that up. It's very noteworthy, and maybe we should push this all back until we can track the ridership once they've moved in some. That's my thought. I don't know what you think, Jessica, Amber.
I would think it's important information to know, and it also just shows the importance of maybe some public outreach in some of these, and particularly this change and revision. So I think we need to do some public input on it, and particularly reach out to Sunrise Wellness and Recovery, and then we can monitor it and bring it back in the upcoming meetings.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Carmen.
Thank you,
Carmen.
My pleasure. So I am going to put up a little slide presentation to go along with what I'll be talking about. I can't figure out how to see you all and the slides at the same time, so if my face looks quirky or something, you'll know why. Can you all see it?
Yes.
Sweet. Okay.
Yes.
So in case, I think pretty much I've gotten the pleasure of meeting most all of you, but if I haven't, my name is Carmen Ibarra and I work at Just Economics. The primary area of my work is on transit with our Better Buses Together campaign. So today I'm here to talk to you all about some things regarding transit, signage, and communication. This is my friend Buster, and he's going to help me go through this with you all. over the last 10 months, we've been taking a look at problems regarding signage and communication. I'm here to bring these things to your attention in the hope that you all will make the commitment to address these things alongside us. As I'm sure you know, when information or signage is wrong, it can mean that people miss their buses or don't get to the places they need to go in a timely manner. Earlier this year, we surveyed about 58 people, and when we surveyed everybody, about 46% of the people we spoke to used the transit center as their primary means of communication. Oops, I skipped one. And so they rely heavily on the information that we get from the transit center. And so this is something that we have been hearing a lot about, missing information or inaccurate information. Is the first thing, I think, as far as signage at the transit center would be the digital signage that needs to obviously be correct and up to date. One of the improvements that we see is the digital signs need to include the actual time as well as the minutes that it will take for them to show up. Another thing is, I don't know if you all have been to the transit center at the brightest part of the day, but it can be super difficult to read those digital signs. And for a lot of people, struggling with eyesight, things, or like sun sensitivity, like I have, like they can't read the signs during the brightest part of the day. And so I think that that's really important to consider. Not everybody has access to, eye doctors. And I just think like everybody needs to be able to read the signs at all times. The digital sign above each bus bay needs to be accurate, and the buses need to only stop at their designated bays. As an example, on September 22nd at the transit center, the following problems were observed by a Better Buses Together member. 3 of the times that were listed on the digital signs were off by an hour. At 4:45 that day, the We1 was scheduled to depart in 15 minutes, but the overhead sign said 75 minutes. The N5 and the We2 westbound departures were similarly off by an hour. And aside from that specific day, we've heard so much about buses parked in the wrong bay. And one of our riders said that they got on the wrong bus. I don't know, maybe they didn't see the sign on the outside of the bus. They went with where the bus was parked. So there needs to be more information about how to get information at the transit center. I'm sure you all know that the app that we all were recommending was a transit app, and it's called Transit. And they recently changed their model to basically, if you want full access, you have to pay a fee. And our concern is not enough people know what options they have that are free. And I know that, it's been put out digitally and it's been talked about at meetings, but we feel like, talking to the 46% needs to be available at the transit center so that people can really, have access to something that they may not know exists right now. So for communication on buses, we've heard a lot about the announcements on the buses. Sometimes they're wrong and sometimes they're non-existent. And so we're asking for, to reinstate announcements on all buses and to correct any errors. We've heard from several riders as well that not having access to information about the route on the bus can be confusing. So aside from the announcements about next stop or whatever, like getting on the bus and seeing how far your stop is. So we would ask for like maps on the bus and just any other information, you know, that would need to be shared about that route, any changes that are going to happen, you know, ahead, like if there's an event or something like that. The next thing is information at the stops. So we feel that all the stops need to have signage to include the number to text. And we've heard from many riders that can name a litany of stops that do not have that sign. And without that information, you know, if I'm new to the bus, I don't know what to expect and I'm standing out there, you know, and it may just be my neighborhood stop that isn't, you know, one of the updated ones, and I don't have access to that information. So another thing, as far as communication with riders, we're asking for a thorough set of written guidelines and rules for both riders and drivers. We feel that these should be at the transit center, of course, online, and on the buses. And in our meeting, Better Buses Together meets with the city transit staff. We learned that they're on the back of the system map, but our concern is wanting to elevate what those rules are and to make them available and easy to see as often as possible so that there's no confusion about what's expected of people, and hopefully make rides easier and make people feel hopefully more accountable. We're asking, we're hoping that you all can set aside some time for us at the November meeting, and hopefully we all could, or you all could, discuss next steps that we, along with you all, could work on implementing or creating a plan for next steps. If you'd like to discuss any of this with me or anything that Better Buses does, my email is there. And so, you know, I appreciate your time, and, you know, I appreciate everything you all do for transit. Thanks.
Thank you, Carmen. Does anyone have anything that they would like to say about Carmen's presentation? Chair recognizes Sandy. She has her hand up.
Yes, the signage has been incorrect for a while. And I'm just wondering, when I'm looking at transit, they're like, well, the city handles that. So how long would it take? Because it's incorrect now, a lot of them. So how long would it take? How long is the process to get the signage correct? Because it really freaks people out, and everybody misses buses. Because there's so much change anyway, and some people, you know, they don't like change. You know, there are different people that ride the buses, different labels, so to speak, and all that kind of thing. So that's just my question. How long would it take to get this corrected? Because it's needed now.
Okay.
I
Haley?
don't have my hand raised, but we've been in multiple meetings, and I'll let Haley, who did raise her hand, and I'm sorry, Harvey. We have been in multiple meetings the last 2 to 3 days, including last week, working with the sign provider as well as Swiftly for the on-time information with our GTFS feed that feeds the information into the signs. I can let Haley provide a little bit more information, but we are working on it. I would love to say it's going to be fixed tomorrow, but I think it's things keep popping up. Like we think we get one thing addressed and then another item gets popped up. So I'll let Haley elaborate a little bit more on what we're finding with the signs.
Yeah, thanks.
Haley's in the queue.
Thanks, Harvey. Yeah, just so everyone, I guess, understands, we own those signs, but we aren't the ones who are, I guess, feeding the information that's going to the sign. We work with two separate contractors who are helping provide that information. And yeah, it's been wrong for going on 2 months now. They thought they fixed it once, but then, as Amber was saying, there's new issues that have popped up. So we share your frustrations. It's definitely on like top of our priority list to get it fixed. And we're having like constant conversations with them. Basically, the two main things that we think are happening right now are, one, some of the stops, for whatever reason, seem to be showing the second bus that would be coming. So not the next immediate bus, but the one that would be coming after that bus, which obviously is not really useful for people. And our providers, they don't know why that's happening, but they're looking into that right now separately. So every bus has an app, or sorry, an iPad, which provides GPS location for the bus and for that route. And the drivers are meant to log in to an app on that iPad that helps provide that GPS location. And sometimes it's new to drivers and they have a lot to worry about. So sometimes they're forgetting to log in, which can create issues. So we're working on that as well. And then, yeah, so those are the two main things that we're looking into. There are some other things that are maybe more in the weeds than you all need to know, but basically we're working on it and we share your frustrations. We do have alerts out there that say that they're not all of the signs are working, but and customer service knows and hopefully can help everyone at the transit center, but we've gone back and forth with just turning them off completely and leaving them on for the ones that are correct. But I have also updates on some of the other items, but maybe while we're on this topic, we can just stay there for now.
Colin's in the queue.
Yeah, I'm thinking that what you're saying is they're having to log in to a pad, an iPad or something like that on the bus to present their GPS coordinates. Is also impacting. Yeah, it's also impacting the accuracy on the transit app, because I see that all the time. It'll say the next bus is in 75 minutes, and I'm like, oh, I guess I missed my bus. And no, I didn't miss the bus. It's just transmitting the following bus after that. And for whatever reason, it's not transmitting its correct GPS. And then I'll say that I guess specifically the N1 and N2 buses that go up and make a trip around the UNCA campus. Once they make their trip around the UNCA campus, the audio always says that they're going towards Beaver Dam or going north, when they may be going into town. So if a rider is unfamiliar with that route, they're going to hear a message that, apparently all the buses announce that they're going to be going north on Merriman, and half those buses are actually going south on Merriman. So the first time I heard that, it was kind of confusing.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. I heard that as well when I was on that route, and we've talked about it. And I know we're working with LaShawn and her team. They put a memo out asking and identifying those that are not being fixed and that need to be repaired in terms of that.
Okay. All right. Sandy has her hand raised in the queue. Chair recognizes Sandy.
Thank you, Harvey. Another that may help. Carmen was talking about maps. So the buses used to have maps on the bus that people could grab, for the bus that they're on, or maybe some other buses. I think that will be helpful to put that in place again, in case anybody's confused. And also the columns at the slips, I don't think they have them now, but they used to have maps put on there. So if anyone, was wondering about time or anything like that, they could also look on the map that's on the pole and figure out what time they need to be there and things like that.
Thank you, Sandy. Are there any other comments? If not, we'll move on to old business.
Colin has his hand raised.
Okay.
Yeah, Harvey, I had one more.
Okay. My bad.
Yeah. What Sandy brought up about maps on the buses, that brings up another issue I noticed quite a bit. When a rider is on the bus and is not familiar with the bus route and where they're going and where they need to get off, their point of contact is the bus driver. And so they're going to the bus driver and asking the bus driver questions while that bus driver is driving the route of what stop do I need to get off on? Where does this bus go? And frankly, the bus driver does not need to be talking to the riders. That bus driver needs to be concentrating on what they're doing, which is driving the bus. And anything we can do to provide information to the riders so that they do not need to speak and distract the driver, I think would be, a huge benefit. So, thanks.
Staff, did you want to reference that, or I could? What he just got through asking about, because you can't stop people from. They have their own agendas about riding on the bus, and when a question comes to their mind, they're gonna get up and run to the driver, and that's just something that you just can't stop. I would love to see it stop myself.
I didn't say it needs to be stopped. I'm just saying anything we do to help prevent it.
Yeah.
That's two different things.
We hear you.
Prevention. Okay. Haley, did you have anything for that?
No, I think that's a good idea, a good point, additional information.
Yeah. Okay.
I did have two other, I guess Amber spoke to the inventory we're doing on which buses are showing incorrect announcements or internal signs. The other thing that Carmen brought up was the number to text at bus stops. And this is an agenda, and this is on the agenda under old business. But this, we're aware of this issue, and that's why we put out that survey to ask people to help identify bus stops that are missing those signs. And I think just we've sent that out multiple times, and we've done like an official press release about that as well. But just a push for transit committee rider members. This is like a great way for you guys to just like practically get on the street and help us make some easy changes. And we're writing the routes too and looking for those missing signs. But this would be great to, anytime you get input, you can either just email me or you can use that survey, and there's a link to it in the agenda.
Sandy is in the queue.
Yes, Haley. Does that also stand for the plexiglass that is missing on those? Just to email you.
Yes, that survey is for both of those things, missing plexiglass, as well as missing stop signs or missing stop ID signs.
Yeah, the more we get the word out in terms of identifying the texts that aren't on the stops or the plexiglass or anything that looks like it needs to be replaced or repaired, please let us know. And we're working with maintenance on replacement, and we have a targeted schedule for improving some of those stops.
Carmen, I know you guys have a new assistant right now. If she's ever bored, this might be a good thing for her.
Unfortunately, I don't think any of us are ever bored. We give her more work than that poor girl can handle.
Yeah.
We have been replacing plexiglass, and then a few stops, and I can't recall which stops, but the plexiglass has already been broken out. So we are looking at other measures of what to do, but we are trying to address the plexiglass and replacing it with safety glass to make sure that the stops are taken care of.
Moving on to old business, art services updates, WE1 update.
Wanted to provide a quick update, and LaShawn can provide additional information. We're still running short-staffed while our ATP Dev, our operator, is getting closer and closer. We have still reduced service on WE1. The goal would be to have it up again to the normal frequency in a few weeks, hopefully by Thanksgiving. LaShawn, if you'd like to give any updates in terms of that and what we're seeing with staffing.
Yes. So yes, that is the goal for us to have this up before the holidays. Right now we're sitting at 59 operators. We need a total of, we need 63 to be fully staffed. We thought we would be able to do it with 58 operators, but we have a consistency of drivers out on leave. And what I'm afraid of is putting this run back on, and then we have to close a route because we are short staffed. So right now we're sitting at 53 operators. I do have 6 new hires that are in training. 3 of those are in the training class. 2 are cadetting. 1 is doing behind the wheel training. I have 1 person as of today invited for class next Monday. But I do have 6 interviews this week. So hopefully that 1 will change.
Thank you, LaShawn, for the update.
You're welcome.
Bus stop improvement projects. I know we've touched on the subject about the plexiglass replacement and the missing stop IDs. We're encouraged to use the what we have in place to let staff know that different spots along the routes have missing signage, and we appreciate you using those. And if there's anything else that Amber or Haley would like to add to those 2.
Nope, I think we've covered everything that we wanted to.
Okay.
I think we're good.
Okay. I would also like to encourage the committee to try to hold conversations till we get to those items that we have on the agenda as well. Transit committee member updates and rider experiences. Do we have any members that would like to give us some updates and rider experiences going forward? Sandy, you're in the queue. She's still muted. Sandy?
Um, I'm starting to write down drivers' names who are doing their job with excellence, who are not arguing with any riders or anything like that. They're just doing their job. So I'm going to share those drivers' names with RAP Dev and the city because we really appreciate those drivers because they understand the importance of getting us riders where we need to go, whether that be work or the doctor's office, anything along those lines. And a lot of people use the buses. So I want to, give those names and keep up with that to the drivers that really, really care and everything.
Thank you, Sandy.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. As far as rider experience, each and every month, I always have something to say because I ride quite frequently. I'm always engaged with the drivers, whether I'm in the bus or whether I'm on the platform, asking questions, seeing how the bus is running, whether they like the way to get the buses fixed or whatever. And I encourage the members, other committee members, as I did last month, to also ride the ARC and get to know the drivers, get to know them by name if possible, especially the routes that you do ride. And then if you have the time, also as well, get on a bus that you don't ride and take the experience, because each and every ride on the ARC, to me, it's special and it's different because it always is. And I always get some of the most memorable experiences out of riding the buses. But this month, I had quite a few experiences, especially yesterday. It was a good experience. I met Heather. I've been knowing her, but I never met her before. But I got a chance to meet her yesterday. But she's an excellent driver. She prides herself on never being late, and she says, "I'm never late." And I said, "You go, girl. You keep that up. That's something to be proud of." And I was proud of her for saying that, and the attitude that she does have. I get kind of emotional about things like that because I'm proud that they're proud in the job that they're doing. It's something great. And let me calm myself down a little bit, but I also got to know JT, got a chance to know him, John Terry. He was a truck driver before he came to drive buses. The other time I got a chance to meet him is when we did our multimodal transit. Whoever was invited to go along with us, and we didn't get a chance to talk, but I got a chance to talk to him at length yesterday. Man, he's a very nice man. Very personal about himself. He's got a lot of dignity. And he was wanting me to ask, I asked Jessica, when are the red loaner buses coming?
So the red loaner buses are going to be replaced with the new buses once they finally get here. They were scheduled for inspection in Florida, in Orlando, the exact day that Hurricane Ian hit. And so the inspection of those buses is being rescheduled. I don't know that we've gotten an updated date for that yet. So Hurricane Ian has caused some delays, in addition to all the other delays that we've experienced with these buses. As soon as we find out what our our new delivery date is, we will let you guys know. It was supposed to be this month, but it doesn't appear that that's the case at this time. But Amber, have you heard anything new?
Not, we are just trying to schedule a meeting with the representative from there in terms of it. And I provided that update in the memo, but Hurricane Ian did disrupt the schedule for the inspection. And then the next step after inspection is delivery. So they're sitting in Florida waiting to get inspected. So hopefully we'll get them soon.
Okay. Thank you, Amber. As well as the inside of the buses they've been looking very clean and spiffy on the inside. I like that. I just peek inside of one or two or three or four, as long as it's sitting there. The door is open, and I tell them what I'm doing. I tell the driver exactly what I'm doing. But they've been relatively clean, trash not on the floor and seats and all that. I really like that, and it's a good thing. And then the next thing is the signage that's on the inside of the buses. It's been looking good. The signs haven't been hanging down. They're in place. I don't know what they've been doing to them, but I've really been impressed with the signage and exactly where they are. Because usually they're just hanging down. And one corner's off, one corner's down, and all of these, the signs that I saw, all of them were in place. The only thing up at the station, the signage board, the big billboard up, information board, it was working last week, but this week it wasn't working. And I said, I was trying to get an answer why it worked one week and it doesn't work the next week.
We want that answer too.
Haley, you can give it to me. Haley, Jessica, Amber.
We're saying we want that answer too. That's again with the same contractor that we're working with. I guess they pushed an update that made them stop working, so trying to get that back.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Also, while I was on the W5 yesterday, there are a couple of areas of interest that even the driver had something to say about it, because I discussed it a little bit with Amber, and told her I didn't want it to be a surprise to her. So as at Woods Edge Bench, the bench there is like leaning. It doesn't look good. Even the driver says it doesn't look good. Well, about ready to fall to pieces, I reckon. But it doesn't look that good right there. And there's a hole right there. I don't know whether we can fill it or not. And that the at Bingham Road and Emma Road, the shelter needs some help right there. And we have passengers that walk for miles just to get to that one stop very frequently. And she says it's a lot of water. Heather said it's a lot of water down there, piles up down there. But I said, I don't think there's something that we could do anything about that, though. But as far as a shelter of some kind right there, I wish we could look into that and see if we could put one right there.
Harvey, what was the first location you said by the Woods Edge Apartments?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, it was.
Okay. Thanks.
And then the other one was Bingham Road and Emma.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
And
we can, Harvey, we can look at the stop and do a site visit and check to see the access of the Bingham and the Emma and look to see the stop, the count at the stop, and kind of address and look at the situations and the options that we'd have for enhancements on that stop.
Okay. And you might also ask Heather about that as well, because she had concerns about that for the riders in the water. The last thing that I would like to say something about was give a shout out to some drivers that they go beyond their duty. Like I said, Heather, Craig, Greg, Dee, Stephanie, and Mr. John Terry. And that will be the end of my rider experience, which is always a pleasure.
Thank you, Harvey.
And Sandy, you have your hand in the queue.
Yes, I have to do my shout out. I didn't mention names earlier. So I have Michael Deveron. I have Chantel Harper. Michael's a driver. Chantel Harper works behind the glass, customer service. And a driver, his first name is CHE. And I'm not going to try that one. And I didn't ask him how he pronounced it. And JT is also on my list. He does a fantastic job. And Al, he's one of the drivers that he just makes it so easy and comfortable. And he really cares. You can tell that. The only experience I've had, it was concerning a security guard. And his name, first initial is F, as in Frank, and his last name is Bovine, maybe Bovine. He was busy today, staying inside, transit, and looking outside and see if anything's going on, up the transit trail. And he starts harassing riders, just kind of eyeballing people. And he was harassing one guy, and the guy has had an injured foot. And he asked him, the guy is homeless. That should not even matter. And this security guard just started like, "Are you going to ride a bus?" And the guy was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, which one are you going to ride?" And I already knew where it was going. So I walked up to the security guard and I was like, "Please don't start harassing him," because that's totally what it was. And I will be the first one to say something to somebody if they start harassing anybody for any reason. That's just how I am. But shout out to the drivers and everything. There's more. And we'll share that information with y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. I'll take a look into the security guard issue.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you, Sandy, and thank you, LaShawn. Moving on down to departmental updates, monthly transit update memo. September, staff have anything on that?
The memo was provided in the agenda and gave an update in terms of the status of vehicle procurement of the vicinity buses, the ones that are in Florida, 3 Gillig buses that we have pre-production scheduled for April of 2023. And then the recent FTA bus low and no emission grant, there were 6 hybrid electrics awarded with 3 replacement, and staff is working on the procurement next steps. We're working with our FTA partner, Region 4, on grant applications administration process. And our second phase of the fare technology and fare collection system analysis is underway. Operations, transit staff, and maintenance are looking at alternative analysis we'll have stakeholder input in terms of kind of a menu or a list of an implementation plan with alternatives for fare collection for art. If there's any questions, feel free to reach out, but that's all I have in the memo for right now.
Sandy is in the queue.
Thank you, Harvey. I'm not trying to go on repeat, but I'm just trying to understand. And a loaner bus or new bus, when is the first time that any bus is going to be showing up, whether it's loaner or new bus?
We'll be looking, the vicinity buses are the ones that will be replacing the loaner buses, and we are waiting on a inspection. So we were told they were supposed to be here at the end of October. I don't believe that's going to probably happen. So hopefully we'll see them in November, but I have not gotten verification on that delivery yet. But inspection has to occur first.
Thank you so
and
much,
there'll be
Amber.
4 of them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sandy. And thank you, Amber. Operation updates, art staff. I asked Haley to lead in one of the on-time performance reports or whichever one that she wanted to. This is in order to keep the interest of the transit committee on board and how to read reports. And I'll leave it up to you, Haley.
All right. You all may already know this, but yeah, Harvey just asked me to show you how to read these reports in case you don't already know. So this is Transit Committee agenda. We send this out before every meeting. It's also on our Transit Committee webpage. So for on-time performance, that's what OTP is. We have 2 different reports that we attach. One is the summary of how the system is doing as a whole, and one is by route. So I'm going to open the system summary first. The main thing to pay attention to is, well, the report, like I just opened the August one, you can see the date and time range over here. And this is also showing every day of the week. So weekdays and weekends. The main thing to look at is on time. It's in green, means as a system as a whole, 74% of the time buses are running on time in August. About 9% of the time they're running early. It's in red. And in yellow, 17% of the time they're running late. On this trends side over here, that's just showing compared to the last month, basically whether the system in this case is doing better or worse than the previous month. And for by route, it's very similar. Again, on the left, you can see the date and time range. And you can see it has that, what's the word? Like for reference, it shows 5 minutes. This is based on being 30 seconds early or 5 minutes late. So here on the left side, you see the route name. And in green, this is when it's on time. In red, this is when it's early. And in yellow, this is when the bus is running late. So this is a good way to see how routes are doing compared to each other and what our biggest problem routes are. So if you look at, for example, let's do just the N1s first. In green, you can see it's running on time 72% of the time, whereas go down to the S1, it's only on time 66% of the time. So we can then look into that a little further. Does anyone have any questions about how to read these reports? Is that what you wanted, Harvey?
Yes, I was wanting to keep the committee members engaged in the reports and how they're read, and if they have any questions about it. Staff is here right now to ask them any kind of questions that need to be answered. And anytime you want to look at them, just click on them and run through them anytime you want to. But I appreciate that, Haley, very much.
And on the agenda, we also have, you can look into ridership, you can look into maintenance issues on the buses, customer service issues. All of that is logged.
Okay, Bill has his hand raised.
So, do we have access to that reporting function, Haley, or do we have to wait till see the reports in the meeting notice or in the agenda?
Yeah, that's just what's attached to the agenda is a screenshot of that. That's not the software that shows that information. It's not available to the public, but you can always reach out if you have questions. And we do it for the previous month. So even though we meet on the third Tuesday of the month, we usually send the agenda out at least a week before. And that's information for the previous week or month.
Okay, but the reports that you put in the agenda are just a few, right? There's probably more in your software tool. Is that true?
In the software tool, there's a lot more you can do. You can dig in per route, and like the information, for example, that I shared on the W5 today, I got the on-time performance information through this software.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going, because one of the things I hadn't seen before. It was a riders per stop or something like that fits some of the conversations we've had about utilization. So is there a way to understand what we could see through your performance reporting system? How do we do that? Because right now our only visibility is what you put in the agenda. So one might think that that's all we have, but it sounds like there's a whole lot more. But sometimes if I ask a question about it, then it sounds like it's hard to do. So I'm sort of in a weird loop where I'd like to know what's easy to look at before asking for something specific. So can you solve my problem?
Yeah, so I wish it were simple. There's a ton of different technology that we use for transit planning. The reports that we were just looking at, that's looking at on-time performance, but you can't view ridership through that software. It's a completely different software that we use for ridership. And within the software we use to look at ridership, nothing is generated automatically. We have to run these reports. And there's many different types of reports you can run. And it's not as easy as like pulling it for the whole year for one stop or something.
So what you're saying is it's not easy.
The ridership's not easy. On-time performance is pretty easy to pull, but
okay.
Yeah.
And
All right.
I'd like to, we can get stop level data. I think it's depending on the request. It does take a while to pull the reports because you have to pull, there's APC, the passenger count software that you can download. You can look at it at a stop level per route. There's different options and planning tools through a lot of the softwares that are utilized. I think if there's particular questions about routes or any of the information, you can request it from staff. I think Jessica had something to input as well.
I was just thinking it might be fun to maybe at our next meeting or the following one, it could be interesting to outline the multitude of softwares that we have and how we use them and how much they cost and how they work together, because it is very confusing, and it's confusing to me as well. But yeah, we have so many different, unfortunately, different software systems that we have to pull information from these different things. But we could give examples of the things that we can get from each of them, if that's of interest to you guys.
And some things like the ridership, it's not that we can't, like, we can run those reports and pull them, but it's not something that practically I don't think it would practically make sense to add just this general information to an agenda every single month, unless there's like one thing we're trying to target. It would just be an overwhelming amount of information.
Yeah, we have over 650 stops.
Yeah. I mean, I for one would be interested in that, but it's Harvey's call.
We have, that ridership, you know this, I think, but we attached the ridership, and that goes back to fiscal year 2018, and that shows the ridership per route, and then also totals for the whole system. But that doesn't go into specific stops.
If there's stop level data, that has to be pulled individually, but there's the compiled per route per month ridership is always included in the agenda by route, and there's also historical ridership counts.
Yeah, we'll just share that real quick. So down at the very bottom, ridership report. This is for September. Attached. Yeah, it goes back to fiscal year 2018, and this shows by month in each route the ridership.
And that is pulled from a software APCs, which is the automated passenger counters on the vehicles. Am I correct, Haley? That's where we're getting that?
Yep, that's right.
And a lot of these reports, we would get them when we came to the meetings before COVID. So I got a bunch of them over here in the stack.
You mean print it out?
Yes, they would give us the printouts. That way you'd have a physical copy, as well as the agenda. It was a physical copy. Are there any more questions for this evening? I have I want to ask everyone to please forgive me when we first came on, because before we came on, I had a friend of mine. He went to the emergency room. He had a vein bust in each one of his legs, his left and his right leg. I was somewhat upset about that, and my heart was beating a little bit too fast ever since I had my near-death experience on the 26th of August. My heart has been beating kind of irregular, but it seemed like my heart was in my throat when we came on, and I couldn't get motion for approval out of my mouth for nothing. But it's coming out now, and it's just like when I was talking to Amber earlier today, and I couldn't get Caribou Road out of my mouth in Hendersonville. I think it happened to me, and you too have it, but I got it now. So please excuse me, I got it now. So if there isn't anything else, I would like to adjourn this meeting. So good night, everybody. And thank you.
Thanks, Harvey. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
You're
Thanks,
more than
Harvey.
welcome.
Thank you.